Hi, I'm David. I lead up product and development at Aitum.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm one of the devs at Aitum.
This is a video for getting started with import and export. Myself and Matt, we spent for the best part of 2 months working on import export. But to get started on this, we should probably show you how an import actually works. You'll also kind of get a grounding of knowledge for certain things in the export process. I'm going to go to our rules page here and then click on the import export beta up at the top right.
You'll notice that we're in a completely empty Aitum right now. So pretty much everything from here through the import is all created because of the import process.
I'm going to click on import. Now I can either click in here or I can drag in here. Here it is. So we have a import here that is for tracking your daily subscribers on a stream. As soon as I've dropped it in there, we are immediately greeted with the wizard steps that we've actually created ourselves. The first step's asking us to select our OBS device, and after that, this actually populates another drop down for a text source. This actually pulls data from the OBS device selected. That would have to be pre-set up in Aitum. I'm going to select sub tracker because that's the one I want to track subs. Click next, and this takes us on to step 2, which is here. You can set your custom label for the sub counter. So I'm just going to put in a short and sweet one here, just today's subs, and then hit complete import. Now, what that's done is create a new folder with all of the rules that have been imported. In the background, there were also some variables created as well. They came with the import. So you'll actually see on the last step where I entered some text, that is actually populated straight into this field. That's one of the main reasons of what we call placeholders. Now, there are 2 types of placeholders, but we'll go into them when we're going through the export process. You'll also see that all of those variables that were created are hooked up. You can see them here in the titles, and the OBS source we selected in the first one is also selected here. Let's go into how we made the export. First thing I want to do is click on import export again. I want to click on export this time. So coming onto here, I can select the rules I wish to export. We don't support all things yet, but there will be a warning for stuff that we currently don't support. As of recording, this is the first version. We do plan to add much more support.
Yeah, I mean the intention in the long term is for everything to be importable and exportable. Yep. So it's just a matter of getting it out there into the wild right now in its current form, and like David said, you will see a warning label actually on this page. If something isn't supported, you won't be able to select it. It's just very particular extensions, integrations, or a few things that we just haven't gotten to. So they'll be added in the very near future.
I've selected the rules that I want to export. Click next. It'll take us on to step 2. This is where we add and select our fields. Now, you'll see a very similar layout here to what a rule usually looks like. You'll see your triggers, you'll see your actions, you'll see your checks. So as previously mentioned, we have 2 types of placeholders. You'll see one on the right-hand side here already, the automatic placeholder. What an automatic placeholder is where we know a piece of data, a type of data is going to be different on someone else's system, and now need to manually select their own things. Rather than have them rummage through all of the imported rules that have just come through to find out what is broken and what needs to be fixed, we automatically pull out the stuff we know will be broken. This means that there's a lot less work for your users. We detect across multiple rules that you have the same thing. If I had another text source in here, but it was the same value, they would be grouped into one. So it's only one input for your actual person who is importing.
So alongside automatic placeholders, there's going to be manual placeholders. And with manual placeholders, the whole intention here is that there's various fields within Aitum when you're building rules that you set your own data in. And it's going to be text, it's going to be whole numbers, it's going to be Booleans, different things. And in this example, under change global variable value, we have today's subtext as a variable, and David had set it to its current value is going to be dust subscribers today. And now when he exports that, somebody imports it, they don't want it to also say dust subscribers today. We want it to say, whatever their name is. If I import it, I want it to say Matt's subscribers today or Spike's subscribers today. What we wanted to do is give the exporters a way to flag that to people so that they know, hey, this is a field that needs to change. So David, if you want to create a text placeholder, and he'll be able to drag this onto any valid field. Let's say, so this is a text placeholder. So you'll see when he was dragging that there's actually various fields that is allowed to be dropped into, and you can see him light up green there. Now that he has dragged and dropped that in there, the importer will be alerted on import that, hey, we want you to make a new sub-label prefix. And in the next step is where we can kind of build those instructions a little bit.
On top of that, we support these types as well. For now, we may expand this as Aitum grows and we add more different data types in there as well. You can also rename the automatic placeholders and give them a different color too, the same way you can with manual ones. So we've done everything here. We're going to go to the next step.
This is where you're going to build the step-by-step wizard for your importer to understand what they're doing on the import. What are they targeting? Why are they targeting it? So this is a place for you to be a little bit descriptive about each step. And the nice part about this is, and one thing that we really wanted to do with this is kind of let you as the creator, as the exporter, have kind of free reign over how you go about this. If you want, you can absolutely make this a one-step process and just get real descriptive in this one step and just let people have at it. Or you can really, like every single place, or if you're really just trying to be intricate and detailed with it, maybe this is a very large set of rules that are doing a lot of things. There's a lot of placeholders, but it builds something really cool, like a really automation. Maybe you need 10 steps and you need to get really descriptive. So we're trying to give creators the room to be creative, to get down and dirty and in the trenches and really explain things nicely for their importers. But then importers generally just kind of want to plug things in and go. David, if you want to maybe start with the text source, and we can kind of build a little step description.
So in each step of the wizard, we have a title and description, and you can enter information in here to guide your importers. So the first thing we're going to do is drag in the selector for OBS into here. And we're also going to then drag in the text source afterwards. Now, there's a reason I've done it in that order. For text sources to populate and any other type of sources as well, we actually need to have an OBS device selected. As you saw on the actual import we did at the beginning, when I selected the OBS device, I then got a whole list of options for the source. Now that we've got this first step done, we'll create another one so we can add in our sub-label prefix. So now I've created my second step. I'm just going to fill in the title and description, and then the placeholder that we created earlier, we can just drag into here as well. That's pretty much it. We have got some checks on here so that if you're missing stuff or it's out of order, you will get an error message. So
yeah, right. As of right now, I mean, barring finding any bugs in it, which please happily report to us and we will happily fix them. We're always on the lookout for them, but it really is built in a way that, you know, if you go outside of the bounds of what we allow right now, you either just can't get there because it's already barred, or you'll be let know by an error message and you'll just have to fix what you might have in there that we don't allow just yet, or, you know, any other issues like that should just be blocked out.
So now that we're done with the wizard stage, we'll click next and go on to the export stage. Now, the last thing we actually need to do is give our export a name. Now, choose this carefully. This will be used to create a folder, and the value you put in here will be used as the folder name. I'll hit save, and then I'm going to save it. So let's have a look at what we've just created. I'm on import again. I'm just going to drag in the one we've just exported. You can see here we have our first step where I select our OBS, select the text source in my OBS. Next, and we put in a label, and I'm going to hit complete import. And you can see the name we just used and the two rules we've exported.
Yep. And if you click on the variables tab, you'll see that there are even two more additional variables, even though they're technically the same because we kind of exported the same rule. You'll notice it actually does append a 1 to anything. And that's kind of a check that we do regardless. You know, if somebody imports the same rule twice, then it's going to make sure that it's not building any conflicting names, or maybe your importer happens to have a folder or a rule or a variable of the same name. We check all that before importing just to prevent any errors. And
let's actually test the import we've just done. So I'm going to enable the text source that we selected earlier. I'm going to go into the rules, and if we hit test on update subcount, there we go. So that's how you do an export in Aitum. We're looking forward to seeing what you guys are able to create. We're sure it's going to be awesome.
Yep. And remember to please feel free to share them everywhere. Share them in the Discord. We have channels available to share your creations. There is a potential that we might be adding some really awesome ones to the website as time goes on for people to download to kind of just create an ever expanding repository of cool automations that you guys make to share with everybody.